Hey everybody, how's it going? Josh here, and today we're going to talk about, does Avengers Endgame, does that trailer have fake scenes in it? And the reason why I say this is because when I was coming up with other editorials for different video topics regarding Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame, I was rewatching the trailers, and when watching the Infinity War trailer, I remembered that they had some fake scenes in here, specifically the scenes in Wakanda with the Hulk. And that made me think, if that's a fake scene that they put in there to intentionally throw people off in the first trailer for Infinity War, what's to say they don't have a fake scene or fake scenes in general in the Endgame trailer, at least the first one. And the only thing I could think of that would be a fake scene is the beginning part, which had the scene of Tony talking to the helmet, seemingly trying to relay a message back on Earth to Pepper. And the reason why this seemed odd to me was because, just on the surface level, Tony has much different clothes than he did have on at the end of Infinity War. Also, we know that Tony does get back to Earth and join up with the Avengers again. We've seen it in set photos. We just know this in general. So I think it's really interesting that they're kind of making it seem like Tony maybe is drifting off into space trying to get back to Earth after the events of Infinity War, because he doesn't have the gray hairs and stuff like that we see he does have on set photos, which presumably is after the so-called time jump. So I do think it's kind of interesting that they're kind of doing this. It's almost as if it's an intentional misdirection on their part to really totally get you not knowing or not thinking about what Tony's actually doing in the plot of this movie. Because another thing that kind of got me off guard is if Tony dies in this movie, like let's say at the end of the movie he sacrifices himself, in what way, shape, or form does that make sense of him doing it alone in presumably a stolen aircraft he got from one of the Guardians or Nebula from the end of Infinity War? It just wouldn't make any sense, especially if Nebula's there as well. It doesn't make any sense at all that Tony would just be sitting there dying probably alone in space. And another thing that seemed weird to me as well is that the trailer makes it seem as if not only Tony may not return home, but he doesn't appear in any later scenes, although he also doesn't appear in the scene where Bruce Banner is looking at people that are missing. So that kind of shows me that a lot of things here just don't really fit together when you really think about it, and when you really look at it close. It intentionally seems like this might actually be one of the infamous Marvel fake scenes they throw in there to just kind of throw people off. But I'm really curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on this trailer. Do you think this is a fake scene? If not, when does it take place? Because it really doesn't fit anywhere for the most part, besides either it being a beginning scene where Tony's trying to get back to Earth, or being an end scene where for whatever reason Tony's sacrificing himself or doing something along the lines of that by being alone in a spacecraft drifting to space. I mean, unless it's revealed magically that Tony becomes the MCU's version of Kang the Conqueror and the only way to defeat, like Endgame wise, this is just a crazy theory too. The only way to defeat Kang the Conqueror is by killing Tony, and he decides to just do this to kill himself slowly or whatever away from others. That's the only thing I could think of. Besides that, nothing even makes sense, and even what I just said right there makes no sense. But comment below your guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.